Hey, welcome back to another episode of Daddy Issues. Today we got Jeff from Minnesota, and he's going to talk a little bit about his story and what he's going through, and it's pretty rough. Yeah, take a listen.
My name is Jeff. My story is a very, very long one. So I got divorced probably 4 years now. Went through a very toxic relationship. She got to the point where she would have my kids beat on me and act like she wanted to be together, but then go see another guy and then come back and tell me a different story. So she tried to get both of us to go at each other, which I wasn't going to go with it. I just wanted to raise the kids and do what's best for the kids.
How many kids do you have? Or did you have at that time?
I've got 3 with her.
Okay.
Total, I've got 5.
Yep.
Got one that's 18, and then I just had a baby boy January 11th.
Congrats. That's a big gap, 18 and a brand new one.
Yeah. I figured I was done, but then I met a woman and got engaged, so
Awesome,
she wanted
man.
another one.
Yeah.
So hopefully it works out better than the last one. I was married for almost 20 years.
No way, 20 years, and then, wow. And then that happened?
Yeah. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, we went. It was to the point where she would, she had my kids because she tried to play the get me angry and try to hurt my kids game, which didn't work. I ended up, she had 2 of my kids try to act like they're doing stuff to each other, which I called the cops and got the cops involved in CPS. They had a big investigation going on it. And then they turned around and said it. They didn't do it. Somehow they claimed that my son was classified as he should have been arrested at that time, which he wasn't. He was a juvenile, so he wouldn't have been arrested. Worst case, he should have went to like a detention center or something like that. But CPS said that they'd keep the kids separate. And right after, 2 days later, she filed an OFP against me.
So this is because the mother told your ex told them to do something, and it kind of backfired on her?
Yep. And
Wow.
then she went to a different direction and got an order of protection against me, claimed domestic abuse, and that I was hurting my kids, which I had all the evidence that when my kids were beating on me, I did nothing to them. I had video recordings and everything because I didn't want nothing to come back at me.
Yep.
So then they ended up started to see a therapist and stuff like that. After the therapist, then they put me on supervised visits once I finally got a lawyer that actually decided to do something.
So she took the kids from you until you decided to go to court and deal with it that way. Then they put you on supervised visits, or CPS.
No,
did
after the incident with what she tried to do was getting CPS and
Gotcha.
all of them involved into it. Then that's when I got my supervised visits.
Gotcha.
Because right now I'm off of supervised visits, but every time I go in or I try to interact with kids, the kids try to act out or lash at me and do stuff to me. And then if it's not the kids, it's her boyfriend or her dad that always tries to go after me. So I haven't seen my kids since July of last year.
Jesus. And how old are they? Like they're all 3 of them are on the same page of acting this way to you?
My daughter wasn't, but my 17-year-old decided to brainwash my 17, so he'd be 15. My 15-year-old, and then my 15-year-old brainwashed my daughter.
Yeah.
So it trickled down.
Damn. Yeah, that's bad. I mean, that's just so toxic, and especially for the mother to do this, she's not even thinking about the kids at all. She's thinking about herself.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, because she's got me at almost $1,300 a month in child support.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah, and she ended up stealing money from a vulnerable adult, the place that she was working for, and got charged with it. But she played the pity on me because I'm raising my kids by myself. The father's not in the picture. He's screwing around. And I need to be out, not be placed in jail or do anything harsh against me.
Wow. Now, are you guys still in court or still dealing with this?
Nope.
So
Nope.
how did that not screw her by doing that? Like, how weren't the kids then placed with you for her doing something like that?
Because I found out probably 8 months after the fact that it all went down that way.
Okay. Yep.
Because she initially wanted me to borrow her money, and I asked her what for, and she's like, "Oh, well, I did this, and I need this such and such dollars." I'm like, "No, I'm not helping you out."
Right. Yep.
I was like, "I already helped you get a vehicle, so you got a vehicle for our kids to ride, and that was safe." And
you know what's crazy too is you're still helping her after she's kind of fucking kicking you down, and you're still a good man, like trying to help her out. That's pretty. That's pretty wild. Good for you.
Yeah, we had to go to the point once we got into court and stuff to use the Our Family Wizard app.
Yeah.
And just because I wanted communication to be documented, but this messed up part with Our Family Wizard app now, they changed it to where you can delete conversations. So she could deny it. And
does it delete on your end too if she deletes it?
Yep.
Yeah,
it
okay.
Deletes everything.
Yeah, that's weird that they would add that knowing that people use this stuff because of court. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that, because in the beginning they never did it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she was at every little thing, nitpicking about everything. Because my kids enjoyed riding motorcycles, so I'd take them on motorcycle rides when I had my supervised visits. And my daughter, I told her to wait to get, instead of grabbing something out of my saddlebag, and she didn't wait. And she ended up burning her leg because I had my motorcycle still running.
Yeah.
And they used that. They're like, "Yeah, you're negligent and you're trying to hurt your kids." I'm like, "No, it was an accident." And my buddy was my supervisor for my visits, and he documented and said everything.
Yeah.
And they tried every little which way to just bash me.
Now, are you still trying to fight to see them, or have you, because your kid was 15 at the time, and now he's 17?
No, he's 15 right now.
Oh, okay, he's 15 now, so, yeah.
I've got a 17-year-old boy, a 15-year-old boy, and then my daughter is 10.
Okay.
But no, I haven't been fighting because I ran out of money. I was trying to work 3 jobs to get money to keep fighting, but then child support's like, "Oh, well, we're going to start taking out of your other 2 jobs because that's a full-time income for you for both places." And I was like,
so it's not even a set price? Are you on like a percentage? Whatever you make goes to her?
They're pretty much taking almost 80% of my wages.
Yeah. Oh, you did say $1,300 a month. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, because I was making enough to survive, still fight, pay child support, and everything else, doing my business and working a full-time job.
Yeah.
But then when I was in court, I lost that job just due to the fact that they said when they wanted, I got written up 3 times on it, and I was trying to do my supervised visits, but seeing I couldn't accommodate to the place I was working for, they wrote me up each time for it.
Yeah.
And then I went back for child support to try to get it lowered, and they're like, "No, you voluntarily left that job, so you're paying this dollar amount," and that's the end of the story.
So have you ever been like on back pay? Like, have you missed payments? Yeah, and then it just accrues. I mean, they can even take your license away, your passport away. It gets pretty crazy.
Oh, they were trying to put me in jail and then took my driver's license last summer. Because I'm a little under $7,000 behind, according to them.
Yeah.
Just due to the fact that they wouldn't reduce it, and I wasn't able. When I was starting my own business and I lost my other job, I didn't have the money to go and pay them.
Right. And it's crazy that when you go in for the modification, they don't grant something like that. They still expect you to figure it out. You know, they need to get paid. That's terrible. Damn.
Well, when I asked my child support officer, whose hands are all digging into it, she told me that it goes, the state gets their portion, my ex gets her portion, then federal gets a portion, and federal brings back into state. I was like, why is there so many hands into it if it's supposed to be for the kids? It should be strictly for kids.
Exactly. Everyone needs to get paid.
Yeah, she's like, well, that's how we make our money. I was like, okay.
And putting you in jail doesn't help the kids at all. You know what I mean? Like doing something like that for all the fathers that have to deal with that doesn't help the kids at all. So it's just such a backward system.
It more or less just helps the system out because the system makes more if men are in jail than they do if they're not, or they're paying their little small portion of child support.
Yep.
And I know I've ran into a few guys last summer that were starting a petition in Minnesota to try to get everything changed to either eliminate child support and actually get 50-50 custody across the board for everything. And then our exes pay their dollar amounts and we pay our dollar amounts.
Yeah. So, I mean, the system definitely needs to change for sure. I do believe in child support. It definitely needs to change. I think that it should be 50-50 with parents and go from there. But it's like, if the dad's not around or the dad's only, 2 days on, he should be paying a little bit. But it's like the amount that some fathers have to pay. And then even in your situation, when you lose your job and you go in to modify and then they don't even grant it, it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? You're already struggling. It's like, this is only putting me further back.
Yep. Well, the thing that I had that I see a lot of that I had a problem with the whole child support is that a lot of people just claim people and they don't know the situation and they're throwing out deadbeat dads, and it's like, how do you know that person's a deadbeat dad? You don't know. And I've gotten into quite a few arguments about it. I'm like, in my situation, I pretty much got pushed out of my kid's life. I text them daily and tell them I miss them and I love them and I want to see them. But when I talk to them, they tell me they wish I was dead. They don't want to see me.
That's crazy.
That their friends' parents are real fathers and they step up for their kids and go to their things and do stuff. I'm like, you guys don't inform me on that. And if I do go to it, I got to worry about who's going to try to jump me or who's going to try to get in the fight.
And now how long? It's been 4 years, you said, since you've been broken up with your ex?
Yep.
Yeah. So 4 years, they go from that to from being, your children, loving kids, to then hating you and saying that shit to you. That's freaking wild.
Yeah, because then initially before we filed the divorce and all that stuff, I found out she was cheating on me. And then her dad threatened to fight me or whatever. I went to my buddy's house. Kids were scared that they didn't want nothing to happen to me. So I was just like, whatever, I'll take myself out of the equation. We'll go down there. Everybody can calm down and go that route. Then we ended up trying to work it out, and then she still kept doing it. And for 2 years, I had the kids by myself.
Wow.
I was working, 1 week 70-plus hours, and the next week like 60 hours. Plus coaching, doing all the sports with them and everything else, while she was just going and taking money out of her work and paying for hotels for her and her boyfriend and $300 to $400 worth of liquor that she was buying between the both.
That's crazy. And now, you were together for 20 years. I'm assuming you were married to her. You guys got divorced.
Yep.
Yeah. So there was no in Minnesota. There's no. If she's cheating on you, or could you prove it to the court or anything, or there's nothing like that? They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah, okay.
It's a no-fault state.
Yeah, okay.
Which is bad because in a way, she should have got some repercussions for what she did.
Right.
And the court should have seen and asked questions, because the judge that filed or allowed her to do the OFP was one that granted the divorce.
Yeah.
And they tried to bring me into that OFP, or not the OFP, but the whole thing between my two kids. They wanted me to testify to try to make it to where I would be helping them out. But it didn't help them out. It kind of hurt them in the long run, because I made the first lawyer that they had, because she got free lawyers for my kids, I made him quit because I made him look stupid in front of the judge.
Right, yeah.
He didn't have no answer back.
Now, how does she get free attorneys?
Because she's a mom, and she has custody of the kids.
And the state will provide her with an attorney?
Yep. Either provide her a free one or little to no cost to her.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because when I called to try to get help, because I didn't have enough money for an attorney, they told me that they couldn't help me because I had no custody of the kids, and that they would like my ex-wife's information so they could call her and help me get screwed over.
Jesus. Yeah, this system definitely needs to change. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I laughed at him. I'm like, how I'm trying to fight to get back my custody for the kids, and you guys are trying to still help her out more and more to drag me into the hole.
And that's what the people need to see, and especially the court system is like, you're not a deadbeat. You're not, if you didn't want the kids, you just be out. You know what I mean? But it's like you're trying to fight to have your kids, to see your kids, and they're not helping at all. They're making the situation worse for you.
Yep. Well, they wanted me to do, well, my oldest one supposedly wanted nothing to do with me, according to my ex and him and everything else. They kept trying to store that in the court. So my one lawyer was like, no, there's going to be reunification therapy to get him back in good grace with his dad and stuff like that. But they're like, oh, well, he's got to pay for this and he's got to set it up. So I set everything up. I was waiting for the reunification therapy. And then they said no, that they wouldn't do that because of the OFP. And then after that changed, then they wanted me to go to a CP for therapy to see if my ex was alienating the kids from me, or I was just filling everybody's head full of BS. Which I was like, okay. I was like, oh, how am I supposed to afford that? Because they wanted $3,000 split between both of us, but I'm just paying, what I think, 1,036 at the time I was paying for child support at that point, and they were taking, and then they were getting ready to hit me with back child support. Yeah. On top of that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so where am I supposed to come with the $1,500 to start this process and do this when you guys are taking all my money?
Yeah. And child alienation is a big thing. The court definitely doesn't look at that very well. So they will punish a mom for that. But that sucks that you were in that situation where you couldn't even afford to do the therapy?
Yeah, parent counselor therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I met the one lawyer, or not the lawyer, but the one therapist my kids were going to. That was she's like, oh well, my brother went through the same situation you're going through, and then all of a sudden they flipped the script and she went against me. Also, along with the guardian ad litem, they're like, oh well, the guardian ad litem recommended we go with what the therapist is saying. I was like, well, the therapist is already against me.
That's so wild.
The kids are going and saying a whole bunch of other stuff that's not even true.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, one report I got when I got the OFP, my 17-year-old was saying that I tried to punch him in the face and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, where was I at that point? Because you were the one straight chokeholding me, trying to choke me out. And I was just sitting there taking it until the point where I knew I was in trouble. Then I got myself out of the situation.
Yeah.
I never once swung my fist or anything at my kids.
That's just crazy to even be in that situation with your kids. Now that you have a newborn, you said 10 months old?
Nope, he's only 2 months old.
2 months old, okay. Oh, wow, so brand new.
Yep.
Hopefully everything, goes good with your new woman and all that, but what's some advice that you would give to a father who's kind of in your situation or going through something like that?
Don't turn to alcohol, drugs, or anything like that, because it's only going to take you down and only hurt you. If you're in my situation and you got the funds, I would keep fighting, because it's a lot harder to sit there and not see your kids versus having the funds and not fighting at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, damn, man. That's just a crazy story to not be able... And you haven't seen your kids for a year, you said, right?
Since last July, yeah.
That's wild.
Last time I seen them was when I had my 1 weekend that I had non-supervised visits.
And does the ex-wife even call or even do anything, or are you guys still just not on good terms? I know she asked you for money, but...
Oh, I'm on good terms with everybody. I could care less what they do or anything like that. I just wanted to co-parent and just be civil, but
right.
It didn't go that way. And they didn't want it that way. She wanted to live in her parents' footsteps with the whole get divorced, be apart for how long, then try to come back years later. And I told her that's not how it's going to go.
So her parents did the same thing, kind of, and it's almost like a cycle.
Yeah, well, her grandparents got back together. Her parents hated each other. They would try to buy the kids gift or love.
Yeah,
or buy stuff for them to the point to where who could do the other one better. Yeah. Which isn't something that should have been done that way.
Yeah, stuff, man. It only hurts the kids. In the long run, all of this shit only hurts the kids, especially when they're growing up and, you know what I mean, like just living life. They just want a nice, happy family.
Yeah, because my ex had people actually come to my apartment and try to fight me when I had the kids.
And had some. Yeah, what was the reason for that?
Because she was telling people I was abusing my kids. I was beating the hell out of them.
Yeah.
So I had a pinched sciatic nerve, and I hobbled out of my truck at the time, and this dude comes walking up to me, and I told my kids to stay in the vehicle, wait until, afterwards, and just let me see what's going on. And he starts talking to me. I knew the person, but he was trying to talk all trash and just be a smart ass. Yeah. But I filed a police report, and the town that I live in, the police are on my side because they know the story and they actually know what's going on, because I had so many police reports to back myself up.
Right. They see the pattern of the false calls and all that.
Yeah, because when I was working on a trailer, she'd have a cop out there every 2 hours or so doing a wellness check.
Yeah.
Claiming I was mentally ill. And I was trying to fix up a trailer so me and the kids had something to live in.
Yeah.
And she went to the point when my dad was getting ready to die that she would attack my dad's credibility with how his character was and stuff like that. Because we went to my brother's birthday party, I think it was. Some get together with my brother. We were trying to get together more when my dad was dying of Parkinson's. And I had 2 or 3 beers, and I was like, whatever, I'm just going to drink a bunch of pop and water and pee it out. And he had a sauna, so I went and sweat out most of the liquor. And she called the cops and had the cops come and give me a Dewey test, a breathalyzer.
Damn. Did you pass?
Oh, yeah, I have all 0.
That's just crazy that she would even call to do that. I mean, the police department has to be like, oh, she's calling again?
Well, she called a different county because she had my kid. My son, I crossed over the line because I was tired. Over the shoulder, and I hit the rumble strips just for a second. And he texted her and told her that, and then she called the Wright County Police Department, and that's what they dispatched out to my area looking for me.
Yeah.
So the police I already talked to and had a run-in with them when I was trying to get my kids one time. They called me and asked where I was. I said, I'm almost back to my parents' house. I'm helping my mom get my dad in. And then the Hutch Police Department, the city I live in, came out and goes, well, can we do a breathalyzer? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. And then I blew all 0s.
Yeah.
And I just simply told him, I'm like, I'm sorry that she wasted your guys' time.
Yeah. Damn.
And then 2 seconds later, she pulled up and was picking my kids up because it was her time to have the kids.
Yeah. That's
and I was
wild.
like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not going to stop for a while. No. Do you have plans? I mean, obviously you have to have, you're trying to get your money right to be able to go back to court or anything, but do you have plans on trying to get your kids back or trying to see them again? Or are you just waiting for them to maybe turn around and be like, you know what I mean, call you and be like, I'm sorry for, how I've treated you?
I want to fight once I get the money right.
Yeah.
I don't care how much abuse I got to go through to get to that point to where my kids are the way that they were when I raised them and how they were brought up. versus the environment and the creation that's gone on now.
Yeah, because there's definitely still time. I mean, it's only been a couple years, so they can definitely get back to that point.
Yep. It's just trying to get them. I know I'm going to have to take and fight for full custody just because there's no way to co-parent with someone like my ex because it's just too toxic and it's just pretty much borderline narcissist traits that she has.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I know a couple stories like that for sure, where it's just like, and it sucks too to even say you want to take the kids out of their mother's life, but she's that toxic where they're gonna have a better life without her being there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have no problem with 50-50 custody, and right. I had that in the beginning before everything got the way it went. And then people started like, oh, well, you do this, you can start getting him in, and then he'll start paying you, and then he'll eventually lose interest or lose money to where you can't fight no more.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how it worked.
Yeah. Damn. Well, yeah, the system sucks, man. And
hold on.
He's been bullshitting with you. All right, 4.
All right, so I guess we lost him, but yeah, he's going through a crazy situation with his kids. It sounds like, but hopefully he'll be able to see them again, because especially for a dad who's fighting to see his kids, it just sucks to see that one, he doesn't get to see them, but two, the mother's kind of turning the kids against you or against him. So that's sad to see. Jeff, if you're listening, I hope you still can fight for your kids, and I know it's tough. Maybe when we post this out, some more people on the dad group or something can reach out to you, and maybe somebody will be able to help. But yeah, man, it's a sad story, and wish you nothing but the best, man. Sorry you're going through all that. All right. Thank you for listening.